Hi there, my name is Russ Lagan, Vice President of Growth for eXp Realty. I want to talk today about brokerages and why are brokerages moving to eXp? It's like, why is it something that makes sense for brokerages to move to eXp? So here's the fun part. First thing I do when I'm talking to a brokerage is I always ask them, what do they love to do? And typically what I find out is that most people that start brokerages are not the detail people and the paperwork people and the compliance people. They typically end up having to hire those people after they get the brokerage up and running. Typically, the person is starting a brokerage, in my experience, I've seen thousands of them, are people that are saying, like, I want to love people, train people, teach people, grow people into being successful like I am. And I want to be able to get a little piece of everything they do by helping teach them, train them, coach them to be amazing by being under our brokerage. So they start the real estate brokerage. And what happens is, they're under either their own umbrella, they're under their own umbrella, or if they're under a franchise. So let's just say they're under a franchise umbrella and the franchise provides certain things for them. If they are an independent brokerage or a boutique brokerage, then they have all their own stuff and they're under their own umbrella. But what happens is in this scenario here, this person that is running that brokerage, whether they're under a franchise or they're under their own umbrella, they actually have to do all of the things that they like to do in the brokerage. And they also end up having to do all the things that they don't like in the brokerage. So when I ask them the question starting out, what do you like to do in the real estate brokerage and what made you start the real estate brokerage? What they're going to start to say is, well, I like to teach agents. I like to train. I like to coach. I like to mentor. I really love helping people take their business to the next level. I like the mastermind component of it. I like the being able to make a difference in their life component of it. It's all a lot of the touchy-feely things that make all the difference in the world. And I said, okay, great. So what else do you like to do? And once in a while, I'll be like, well, I like to golf and I like to boat and I like to vacation. Like, okay, cool. That's good. I love that too. Okay. I said, so what I noticed is you didn't mention, here's a list of the things you didn't mention. You didn't mention compliance. You didn't mention bookkeeping. You didn't mention accounting. You didn't mention legal stuff. You didn't mention dealing with the leases. You didn't mention dealing with E&O insurance. You didn't mention dealing with lawsuits, right? A lot of stuff in NAR right now, right? Lawsuit stuff. You didn't mention having to deal with ethics complaints, dealing with the boards, dealing with the MLSs, dealing with tech-related issues, right? As soon as you become a brokerage, next thing you know, you're tech support, right? Or if you're lucky, you get some young kid that comes in that doesn't have anything better to do, and they'll help support your agents in tech support. But that gets old for them real quick when they're dealing with people like me that have trouble cutting and pasting stuff. Okay. So they don't actually love that stuff, but they end up having to do it. So what happens is this person starts building a brokerage, and what they do is they get to 10 to 15 agents pretty quick, right? 10 to 15 agents pretty quick. And they're like, wow, I got that pretty quick. Cool. So what happens is they're doing all these things that they love. And then people see them doing that. And they're like, I want to join that brokerage too. Well, the problem comes in when they get in that 15 to 25 range of real estate agents. Here they're doing like 90% of the stuff that they love and 90% of the stuff that they love and 10% of the stuff that they don't love. When they get to 15 or 25 agents, they're at 70% of the stuff they love and 30% of the stuff that they don't love. So what happens then is typically this person still, even at this number, they still have to sell houses to pay the bills. So the broker owner is still selling houses and they're spending 30% of their time supporting the agents to take care of the agents. So what happens is they're not able to actually spend as much time doing the stuff they love, or they're having to give up doing sales to be able to get more people. Now the rub becomes this. They're kind of at that no man's land. It's like, this isn't making enough money to support the brokerage, so I still need to sell houses, but I don't have an extra 30% time in my week to be able to keep doing this. So if I get to 25 to 40 agents, what happens is you end up spending about 75% of your 25% of your time doing stuff you love, is 75% of the time running the business. Yeah, so they end up getting stalled. So a lot of brokerages get stalled at that 25 to 40, or they'll push through and they'll get to 50 or 60, and then they're spending 90% of their time doing the stuff they don't love and 10% of the time doing the stuff they love. And there's no time to sell houses, which means chances are they're probably losing money. Most of these small brokerage, boutique brokerages, when they're 15 and 20 and 25 agents, they're losing money every month unless they're running super, super, super lean. And trust me, I see this every single week with brokerage after brokerage after brokerage, meeting one in about an hour. They're running about 15 agents. They're actually losing about $12,000 a month. 12, which means the owner's selling one house every month. The whole commission for the sale of a house at 12 or 400,000 is going to just keeping the place even. They don't even get to put money in their pocket till they get their second closing of the month. The first one's just to keep the place from going under. So you get in this death loop where the more people you get, the less you do what you like. So the question of the day is, well, how many people do you want? They're like, well, I want to have 100. Okay. So when you have 100, you're no time doing things you like. You're spending all your time running the back end of the business. And then you get this brilliant idea. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to hire somebody to do a lot of this stuff. Well, the problem is that person costs them $50,000 to $60,000 a year, which means I need to add 30 more agents just to get this guy covered. So I'm now at 30 agents plus on 40. So I'm at 70 agents. I'm still making the same dollars I was making at 30 and 35. And you end up in this spiral where I get more people, but it costs me more money. I get more people, and it costs me more money. A lot of brokerages in this position are breaking even or even losing a little bit of money every month. And some of them are losing substantial money every month. And at some point, they just say, I've had enough, Russ. So what we're talking about here is we're not talking about taking you and moving you over to EXP. And here's what people think. They're like, well, then I'm going to go under the EXP umbrella, right? I'm like, no. We're not putting you under the EXP umbrella. We're putting you on the EXP platform. Okay. Think of it like this. EXP is a platform, and EXP's job is to take about 90% of that backend, 90% of this list of stuff that you don't love. We're taking that, and you get back to doing the things that you love. So EXP is running the back end of the business. They're dealing with all the compliance and the ethics and the rest of that stuff, tons of support and teaching and training and the handling agents and dealing with tech. All of that stuff, majority of that stuff is handled by EXP, which means you get back to doing 90% of what you love and 10% of what you don't love. You're always going to have a little bit of that stuff. If you're running a team, if you run your team over here, you're still going to have some of that stuff that you have to handle. That's team stuff, back end stuff. But this gets you back to doing 90% of the stuff you do love. So if we could put you in a position where you get back to doing what you love, get back to making real money, not kicking most of your money into the brokerage, kicking the money into your own pocket, still being able to love, teach, train, coach, and support people in this position, you can have a team at EXP doing that stuff with your current team, move them over and trade time for money selling houses and help them do that and build out the team. And you also have the ability to build out an organization. So a lot of these people here will say, hey, Russ, here, I wanted to have 100 agents because I love teaching, training, coaching, and right? You already told me that. So this person over here not only can have 100 agents, I want you to start thinking, let's make some systems and build some systems and support parts. Let's talk about 1,000. What if you could influence 1,000 people or 2,000 or 3,000? We have some people in EXP that have 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people that are in their organizations. You could never do that in this model. You just can't. You run out of time. But in this model, you have the ability to have massive amounts of influence long-term. So for you, if you're struggling, kicking, scratching, fighting, pulling every day just to get to even, if you're having a challenge being able to get back to doing the stuff that you love and you're mired in doing things that you don't love and not making money, by moving over to EXP and jumping on our platform, you can do all the things that you want, get you back to doing what you love, and get you back to being the person that you want to be and being able to build yourself a legacy while helping other people sell more houses. That's what we're offering at EXP. That's what EXP really is to you guys out there that are wondering, how does EXP work for brokerages? If you want to have more conversation about that, reach out to the person that sent you this video, or don't hesitate to reach out to me or the growth team at EXP. We can help you have this conversation and see how we can help you make that happen in your life. If you want that to happen, we can show you how. It just takes a couple of simple steps to work you through the process to help you make the best decision of your life, to get you back to doing what you love and living the life of your dreams, not being a doormat, not losing money, not working your butt off and making no dollars. Let's get you back to what you really wanted to do in the first place. I'm Russ Lagan, part of the growth team of EXP. Hope you enjoyed that video. See you on the next one.